YouTube, it's Ash. So today I'm back with another story time, and the reason I did back-to-back story time was because I've been having these like stories in my mind. And if you make videos and if you do story times, like, you know it's good to get your story times out there while they're in your head, while you just like have that memory, because if you write them down you like might forget the details and stuff. So when they pop in my head, like, I want to get them out there and stuff. But yeah, so next week is not going to be flooded with story times. Like, I have stuff coming up. I have some fun like spring break stuff coming up, and I go to Dallas next week, so it's just gonna be crazy. And yes, there's gonna be a vlog Sunday. So yeah, but today's video is going to be another story about how I was just an evil step everything. Like, I was the evil stepdaughter from both sides. I was the evil stepsister. I was the evil half sister. Like, I was just the evil stepchild. And they're like, oh, not oh, sweet little me. But yeah, I was bad. Okay, so yeah, let's get into the story. So my parents, they got divorced when I was 13, and when it just wasn't working. When they told me, well, first of all, they never slept together in the bed. Like, my parents, I grew up with my parents having like different rooms and stuff like this, and stuff like that. Like, they had different rooms, but to me, I thought it was normal. But when my friends would come over, they'll be like, why your family don't sleep in the, like, why your mom and dad don't sleep in the same room? I'm like, I don't know, like, I thought it was normal, but I was wrong. So they ended up getting divorced. I remember my mom told me, and I like fell out. Like, she told me, like, I think in the Red Lobster parking lot. Like, huh? But anyway, like, I guess she wanted to, like, she was like, yeah, we're gonna go out to eat, just me and you, you know, some mommy daughter time. But so I guess that was her way of breaking it to me. I don't know. But like, I fell out. Like, I ran up the street, came back, was like, oh my god, like crying. Like, I'm a very dramatic person still, like, it hasn't changed. So I was acting really crazy. And so yeah, and then I'm like, I don't want another mom, I don't want another dad, I don't want any sisters. And keep in mind, I already had a half sister, but I was so spoiled and such like the only child mindset that I didn't even like count her. Like, this is bad, but like back then I didn't even want to like acknowledge that she was my half sister. Like, I didn't want to acknowledge that. But we'll get back into all that like as I go to the story. So yeah, so I grew up, I'm the only child from my mom and dad together. So I grew up very spoiled and all that stuff. And I was very selfish. I'm still a little selfish now. That just doesn't go away, but like, it's just very down, like very down, like than how it used to be. Yeah, so it was just bad. I was like, I don't want another mom, I don't want another dad, like, I don't want any of this stuff, because I'm very close to my parents. So I think my dad moved on first, and this is how I became the evil stepdaughter from my dad's side. So I remember going to his house, me and my best friend Jasmine, that's my god baby's mom, like, we're still friends. So we went to my dad's house because he moved out, but he moved only like 40 minutes away. So we would go there on the weekends. Like, if you're a divorced kid, you know, like, you have to share those weekends. I know. But so we went over there. Well, I remember went over there, and I was checking my room, opened my closet, and all of some lady's stuff is in here. Like, the whole closet just had all, I mean, she's my stepmom now, like, I love her, but all of her stuff was just in the closet. Like, you can just tell her presence was just everywhere. And I was like, this is so disrespectful, but I was like, I don't care if she's this or that. Like, I called her like a whore, I think. Like, I was out of control. Like, I was out of control. I was like, take me home right now, take me back to my mama's house. Like, I feel so bad even thinking about it. Like, that was just terrible. And keep in mind that the lady who is now my stepmom, she was on the phone with my dad. Like, my dad always has this thing, like, where he's on the phone and nobody knows. Like, if I call my dad now, like, somebody else can be on the phone and you won't know. Like, that's just what he does. So she was on the phone and she heard me saying all these terrible things about her. I was like, I don't care who she is, she need to get all her stuff. Like, I think I was even ripping clothes out, all, like, it was just terrible. And I was like, take me home, and I made him drive all the way back 40 minutes to take me home. Like, it was just bad. I remember he wanted us to go on like this skating rink dates, and so I told Jasmine, I'm like, we're gonna get her out of there. And I told my cousins, like, we're gonna get her out of here. Let's act like she's the worst person, because I know my dad's gonna believe me and stuff. Like, it was crazy. I was really bad with her. Like, yikes. I was like I was like the evil stepchild. Like you didn't want me to be like, you know, your stepdaughter. So let's get to my mom. My mom remarried to Mr. Rogers. Y'all know him. He's in the vlog. Like, we have a great relationship. So he came in and he was just trying to regulate stuff. Like, he didn't want me like I would do like stuff like kind of, I don't know, just spoiled stuff. Like, I would always expect my mom to do everything. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to clean. I was just overly spoiled. And back then, I'm like, he just came in like changing stuff. Like, oh, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. But now I understand, like, that was like the life lessons I need. Like, I didn't need, you know, I needed some independency. Like, I can't keep depending on my mom for everything. And it ended up helping because like, I don't live in the same state with my mom now. So, like, that's good that, like, he kind of got her out of that babying stage or whatever. So, yeah, and me and Jasmine, we tried to get him out. I called my grandma and I told on my mom, and I pretended like that Mr. Rogers was the worst guy and that he was just being so bad to me. Then my grandma called my mom, like cussing her out, like, why is he treating Ashley so bad? Like, I tried to get him out of there. Then the worst thing happened. Better than I thought. I found out I was moving to Georgia, and I lived in Virginia from age 13. So this new guy comes in. Now I have to leave my dad, and I have to go to another state where I don't know anybody. Like, I flipped it. And he had another daughter and a son. So that's when I met my stepsister Giselle. I was not here for it. I didn't want her around. I didn't want any of this, and I wanted to go back to Virginia. I remember the first day of school. Not to sound like stereotypical, but in Virginia it was really white. Like, you didn't see a lot of black people. Like, we were the minority. I went to Georgia and it was like flipped. Everybody had like these country accents. I didn't go to an all black school, but it was way more than Virginia. And like, I remember the first day of school, everybody was like throwing stuff around. I was like, I can't go here. So my stepsister, she was open to forming a relationship, but I didn't want any friends. I didn't like want to be affiliated with her. I didn't share my stuff. I wrote my name on ice cream sandwiches. I wrote my name on everything. On the computer, I didn't want her on my computer. I would change my password every time. My mom would be like, okay, I need to share the computer. You need to tell her the password. I wouldn't listen. I would change the password. Like, I didn't get along. When I made good grades and if she didn't, like, she would tell me like, hey, can you just not show them this time so that I won't get in trouble? No, that was the first thing I did. Like, I would show them my grades and I would get pleasure out of like her getting in trouble. Like, it was crazy. Like, I was really evil. Like, oh my God. That was crazy. That was how I was evil with my stepsister, my stepdad, and my stepmom. Now let's get on, and now I have the best relationship with all of them. Like, honestly, I'm glad that my parents divorced. Like, now I know what it's supposed to look like for happiness. Like, so I'm happy they divorced. If they never were divorced, I would have never met Corey. I would have never been on YouTube, because the reason I got on YouTube is because I was bored when I moved to Georgia. I didn't have any friends, so I got on YouTube. I would have never met all my friends and stuff, so it wasn't the end of the world. So, and this is just me saying, if your parents are divorced, 'cause I know I have some young viewers, everything's gonna work out in God's plan. It's going to work out. So just go with it. Because I was miserable for a long time, but now I'm the happiest person ever. Like, it all worked out. But so let's get to my half sister. Okay, a lot of you guys don't know this. Like, I talk about my step family and stuff, but not really my half sister, because we don't have the best relationship. And this doesn't have anything to do with me being like evil when I was younger, because when you're younger, you're evil. But we just don't. I'm not gonna get into why and all that stuff. We just don't have a good relationship. But I was evil to her when I was young, just like everybody else. So I'm gonna tell this story. She used to get in trouble all the time, like dealing with boys and stuff. And sometimes I would tell on her, sometimes she would just get caught. It's like I was a snitch. And so I remember one day she had did something. She was like, don't tell dad or whatever. And I used to be like, first of all, don't say dad, like, it's my dad. Like, I was really bad at it. Like, I was so evil. Like, I'm evil. So I would not, like, I would say my dad, not our dad. Like, no, it's my daddy. Like, I was crazy. So anyway, so she was like doing stuff with a boy or whatever. And I remember we went on this trip because I used to play basketball or something, so we went on this basketball trip. I was like, okay, well, if you don't listen to me, I'm gonna tell him. And she didn't want to get told on. So I said, this is what she had to do. I said, every time I say dad, you have to freaking bark. So every time I said dad, she would be like, ruff, ruff. And then my dad would be like, what's going on? And then like I would be like, daddy, or she'd be like, ruff, ruff. And if she didn't do that, I would literally tell on her and just ruin her whole like game. And like, that's terrible that I did that to her. Like, that's so terrible. But after that, we made up and we were cool and we had a good relationship. But our relationship kind of, now it kind of just drifted apart. I don't know, but it had nothing to do with me, how like vindictive I was back then, because we had made up after that, but it was just bad. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. This story time was kind of like a mixture of how I was just an evil, manipulative child. And as you see, like, that's why I had to hear him get it out, because there was just so many like different aspects of everything. But yeah, so let me know, if your parents aren't divorced, how would you act if they got divorced? And if your parents are divorced, how did you act when it happened? And how did you act when you first got step parents or whatever? And don't worry, if your parents are divorced and they haven't met somebody, they're going to, and you want them to, because you really want to see them happy, so you'll know what happiness is, you know? So don't be afraid. But yeah, that's it. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. I have new videos weekly, at least 4 videos a week. And don't forget to like this video. See you guys Sunday with a new vlog, and it's a long one. Bye. Like, I was hitting her back and then she started crying and she was like, oh my god, and I was like, well, you hit me the other day and